Hey guys, Got7 again. This time with a tutorial on two things I get asked relatively often about. The first one is how I deal with my Nubmarks, and the second and most often one is how I do my panel lining. Now for the people who are only here for the panel lining, there will be an annotation link all over the screen, so if you just want to see that, click on the screen right now. So for the people who are still here, Nubmarks, and I will be using parts from the high-grade RX-78-2 in order to illustrate my points. So, the first thing you'll of course need is a pair of nippers, and the second one is a nice sharp hobby knife. Okay, so what I think is a common rookie mistake is to just grab your nippers and try to cut off the part as close to it as possible. Now, unless you have the god hands, and that's not really recommended. What you want to do is leave a nice amount. Let's just do it on all sides. So just leave out a nice amount. And now you're going to go in for a second time, but you're still going to leave a small amount of plastic there. So just not entirely close to the plastic. You can see there's like still a little bump left. Do that with all of them. There we go. And that is where the hobby knife is going to come in. Now the reason you don't want to cut it completely flush with the plastic, unless of course you have the god hands, which are very expensive nippers by the way, is that if you do it, you risk like having little holes in the plastic or just kind of damaging the plastic. And you will see that as you slowly slice away at it, so you're gonna have to do it from both sides, and that is going to give you the best result. And if you just keep scraping like that, you will see that you now have a nice flush surface. Sure, if you look close enough, you will still be able to tell where the nub mark was, but like this, well, 90% of the cases, you're not going to have those ugly white marks on your plastic. And this was done on a 90s model kit, 1990, so you know the red wasn't the best at the times, so if we can get this kind of result with the old red, you know for sure that you're going to be able to get some nice results on modern day kits. Just remember, unless your nippers are god hands, do not try to immediately cut off the the part from the runners. And now on to the panel lining. For everyone who just rejoined us from either the skip in the beginning or because I sent you this link because you asked this question, welcome back, or just hello. Let's get going. So what you're going to need is a Gundam marker, and this is what I've been asked about a lot, like what do I use? Some people think I'm using some kind of wash or paint. Nope, just your regular issue Gundam marker. But there is a little bit more to the magic because you've probably noticed on my panel lining, it's not what you're going to get by just panel lining your model kit with a Gundam marker. You're going to need either a cotton pad or just an earbud, something made out of cotton that you're going to use to rub up the plastic. And this is what it's going to end up looking like. Yes, this was once a cotton pad, and that's also why there's now a lot of ink on my nippers. So the thing here is I'm going to show you how to do it, but it's still going to require some practice on your part because it's really all about the timing. Because with my technique, you're going to put on the panel line, a few panel lines, and then you're going to grab your cotton bud, or your cotton pad, or what's left of it. You're going to rub off the ink at pretty much exactly the right time, especially for these open panel lines. And then you rub it off, and then you're going to get a nice smooth finish. For example, right here on my Gym Custom. And as you can see, it's not pitch black. It's kind of like nicely smudged out, so it gives a really cool effect. The funny thing is, I kind of discovered this technique on my own, based upon tutorials, based on other tutorials for Gundam marker, because what they always tell you is, oh, just grab a cotton pad and it's going to remove the Gundam marker. believe me, just a cotton pad is not going to remove your Gundam marker, but it will create other magic. So let's get going. You're just going to carefully go over it, and doing this on camera isn't exactly easy. Just grab whatever's left of your cotton bud, and then you will see that the lines become a lot smoother. There we go. Now this piece here will perfectly illustrate the wrapping up steps, because first here we have this kind of bleeding, and now this is where you're going to choose. Either you're going to keep this effect, and especially if you notice that you kind of want to go for this effect, I would recommend you to rub down to make it look like it's kind of rained, it's gone off a bit. Or if you want to clean it up and just have this panel line, there are a lot of things you can do. You can grab your pad, you can grab rubbing alcohol, you can grab an eraser, or you can grab your thumb. Boom, there we go. It's really that simple. 4 recessed panel lines that are like engraved in there, super easy. Now, going back to my little mistake I made up here and also kind of here, this is where a toothpick is going to come in super handy. Just drag your toothpick along there, and you kind of erase your panel line. Once again, this is going to be a lot easier off camera than it's going to be on camera. Like right there, a little mistake there, just gently touch that up. There we go. Make sure it goes in there. So basically, you're drawing away your panel line. And that is how you're going to create not just very smooth panel lines, because there are a few issues you'll often have with Gundam marker. And that is, if you just go over it once, it's not going to look like one even color. It's going to be very black where the ink is, very light where the ink isn't. But with this, you really just smooth it everything out. Then you go over with this, and you will now have a nice smooth panel line, or at least as smooth as I could get it on camera. Now for some final tips and tricks about the panel lining. Something people wonder about is, should you first put the parts together and then panel line them, or first panel line them and then put your parts together? I'm in the camp, first panel line them, then put them together. Because the main problem when you first put them together and then panel line them is whenever you're drawing your nice panel line and you hit a seam line, the ink is going to want to seep into that seam line. Meaning that you're not only, well, marking your very nice panel lines, but you're also highlighting your very ugly seam line, which is not something you want, and the only way to remove that very nice black seam line is take it apart, rub everything down, and start over again. Now, sometimes I will put my parts together. Well, first I will panel line them, then put them together, and then with like parts like this here in the back where the panel lines are supposed to meet up for like they're just one part, then I will sometimes see like, yeah, it doesn't look like it crossed quite well. I'll quickly try to go over it, but what you always have to do then is make sure that you're drawing your pen so that it doesn't get caught on the panel line, so that it doesn't get caught on the seam line, rather than pushing your pen, which isn't an issue on regular panel lines, but when you're crossing a seam line, always make sure you're dragging your pen so as not to get it caught. Another reason to do that is that it will also make sure that the life you're going to get out of your pen will be longer, because the problem is, over prolonged use, you will see that the tip becomes a bit brushy. The one thing I have to say is you will always get a brushy tip before the ink in these runs out, but do not throw them away. Like I said, there's still going to be ink in there, and they're still going to be very useful, because on some models you will have panel lines that are extremely thin, and like very deep, so you will not be able to reach them with your regular Gundam marker, which isn't broken. But if you have like these little bristles on there, you will be able to reach in there just fine. And then the first thing I always do is still grab our cotton pad, rub it down, and now you decide, do you like the look? Don't you like it? Rub it off, and there we go. And then there's still a piece you can't reach with your thumb. You grab your toothpick, and just look at what we were able to do with a quote-unquote broken Gunpla marker in a matter of seconds. I still have to touch up a few things where the ink didn't completely reach, but as you can see, with just a few small touches, the results with a Gundam marker can be pretty amazing. And if you follow all of these steps, you will also be able to make a very nice looking straight build Gunpla. Well, that's all for this video, and see you guys next time. All right, here you're going to have, oh, no.